He wakes up before the sun. He trains in silence while his rivals post videos on TikTok. His name isn't in the headlines yet, but those who saw that training session swear that Alabama is about to unleash a new beast and Devonta Smith already knows it. Yet almost no one is paying attention. Are we witnessing the next Heisman? And why are the insiders in Tuscaloosa treating this like a state secret? Stay with me until the end, because you're about to understand why this kid might change Alabama's destiny and what's behind a decision that's going to explode on June 26. Before we continue, if you live Alabama like we do, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. Backhand index pointing right. Who will be this year's breakout star for the Crimson Tide? Let's see who gets it right before the season begins. While the whole country debates whether Georgia will keep its dominance, two names are quietly preparing to make history: Ryan Williams and Xavier Crowell. Two young men, two paths, one mission: to restore Alabama to the throne. Ryan, an elite wide receiver, trained with none other than Devonta Smith, the only pure WR in Alabama history to win the Heisman. But it wasn't just any training. It was in Tampa, at the legendary House of Athlete. It started at 5 a.m., following Smitty's insane routine. It involved sweat, routes, discipline, and one clear message: if you want to be the next, suffer like the last. And when an NFL veteran with a Super Bowl ring tells you that, you listen. Ryan listened. He's young, but he already understands that talent alone isn't enough. He's shaping himself just like Devonta: same build, same ethics, same focus, same silence. While others make promises on Twitter, Ryan just trains. While rivals talk, he executes. He knows he doesn't need to be the strongest or the most famous. He needs to be the most consistent, the smartest, the most resilient. And that's what's scary. Because when someone with his talent starts thinking like Smitty, the result is unpredictable. Now add to that Xavier Crowell, the running back no one wants to face, but everyone's trying to sign. He's the type of player that changes the destiny of a program. Standing at 5 feet 11 inches, 210 pounds, with nearly 2,000 rushing yards and 31 touchdowns in a single season, Crowell isn't just a promise, he's a problem for anyone facing Alabama. And more, he's skipping a year of high school to go to college early. Why? Because he wants to play now. Make history now. Win now. And Alabama will be his final official visit. Coincidence? No. Strategy. He'll be in Tuscaloosa between June 20th to 22nd. And on the 26th, he'll announce where he's going. If he and Ryan Williams wear the same jersey, if they train together, if they absorb the culture together, you can write it down: the new golden era of Alabama starts there. And who's behind all of this? Kalen DeBoer. The new commander has already achieved something impressive. Backhand index pointing right. He put Alabama as the number 2 team in the country, according to ESPN rankings, without even playing a snap. Do you know what that means? The behind-the-scenes action is on fire. Internal practices are intense. The players believe again. But no one's noticing. While the spotlight is on other programs, Alabama is working in the dark. And that's exactly how the dynasty began under Nick Saban. With sweat, silence, and blood in the eyes. Let's remember, the truth is Alabama legends aren't made on camera, they're made in the dark, before the sun rises. While the world watches trendy teams, Alabama is doing what it always has, quietly building monsters. And when Ryan Williams starts scoring, and when Xavier Crowell makes his first cut, and when Bama's new offense starts eating up SEC defenses, the world will wake up too late. This video isn't about the past. It's about the next statue at Bryant-Denny Stadium. It's about the new generation that will make Alabama silence the country once again. If you want to say, "I already knew," subscribe now. The new era of Alabama has already begun. It doesn't want attention. It wants trophies. Studio microphone roll tide. See you in the next video. Something just leaked that could completely change Alabama's future this season. Kalen DeBoer, the new head coach of the Crimson Tide, finally spoke up and revealed when he plans to make the call on who's going to be the starting quarterback. And for those who thought that decision was still a long way off, you better get ready, because it might happen a whole lot sooner than you think. But what most folks haven't noticed yet is that one name is already starting to gain traction behind the scenes, and the fanbase is already split up on social media. Is Alabama gonna trust the most experienced guy? Or is there a surprise coming? Stick with me till the end, because you're gonna understand why this choice is way more complicated than it seems. Alabama's going through a historic transition. After the Nick Saban era, the locker room now has a new leader, Kalen DeBoer. And as if replacing a legend wasn't pressure enough, DeBoer has already fastened the biggest preseason dilemma: who's gonna be the starting quarterback? With Jalen Milroe heading off to the Seattle Seahawks, Alabama's got three young players fighting for the most important spot on the team: Ty Simpson, the most experienced one, who backed up Milroe the past 2 seasons; Austin Mack, who impressed folks in spring practice; and freshman Kalen Russell, who's also in the race. And it was exactly about this battle that DeBoer decided to talk about, in an interview on the Always College Football podcast. DeBoer revealed that, yes, he's got a deadline to make that decision. According to him, the plan is to announce the starter right before week 1, during what they call bonus practices. That's the time when the team starts fully focusing on the first opponent of the season, and that's the moment when the starter needs to be locked in, working on chemistry with the receivers and the rest of the offense. But listen up, DeBoer made it real clear that if someone pulls ahead, that decision could come at any moment. And here's where things really start heating up. Even without any official word, everybody's already noticed that Ty Simpson came out of spring as the favorite. He's got the experience. He knows the system, he's felt the pressure of Alabama, and he's been sharing first-team reps all through April and March. But Austin Mack ain't out of the race. Mack also impressed in practice, showing potential and quick decision-making. And there's still freshman Kalen Russell, who's been surprising folks behind the scenes, even if he ain't the most talked-about name just yet. But the most revealing part of the interview was when DeBoer talked about what he really wants to see in his future quarterback. Take note of this: at the end of the day, what matters is who can move the ball down the field. For DeBoer, it ain't enough to have the best pass completion percentage, it ain't enough to look like the most technical guy in practice. What matters is who can turn plays into points, who puts the team in position to win consistently, every single day. That puts even more pressure on all three guys, cause this ain't just a talent contest, it's about who delivers real results right now. And you can bet, when that call gets made, it's gonna define not just Alabama's season, but also the start of DeBoer's era, which is already surrounded by high expectations and a whole lot of pressure. Now it's up to you. Who do you think should be Alabama's starting quarterback? Drop your pick down in the comments: Ty Simpson, Austin Mack, or Kalen Russell. I'll be reading through all y'all's opinions. And if you want to keep following everything about Alabama's preseason in college football, go ahead and hit that subscribe button here on Roll Tide Press, and turn on the notification bell, cause there's still a whole lot more to come. He wasn't the favorite, not the most talked about, and for a long time, he didn't even seem to be on Alabama's main radar. But something changed, a plan was broken, an unexpected name came back to the table, and now, Bama fan. If there are only 2 spots for wide receivers in this class, the question becomes inevitable: they're really picking him? Hold on, the answer is right here. What happened behind the scenes in Tuscaloosa? Who lost ground? Who gained favor? That's exactly what we're going to tell you now, right here on Roll Tide Press. The situation is clear, at least on paper. Alabama currently has 10 scholarship wide receivers on the roster. And what does the staff think about them? That they're good, very good, so good, in fact, that the initial plan from the coaching staff was simple. Just 2 spots for WRs in the next class. And one of those spots, let's be honest, already feels claimed in the hearts of Tide fans: C.D. Morgan, from Benjamin Russell. He's local, he's elite, and the coaching staff loves him. But what about the other spot? That's where things get interesting. Many names have been floated around. Among them, 2 stood out in recent weeks. Booby Feaster, a highly sought-after WR from Texas. Alabama wants him. But so do LSU and Texas A&M, with much deeper nil pockets. Ryan Mosley, wide receiver from Carrollton, Georgia. Plays for a powerhouse program. Used to catch passes from Juju Lewis, now a national QB star at Colorado. Mosley was never treated as a top priority, but he was always nearby. And that matters. Because sometimes, the one who hangs around long enough ends up becoming the favorite. Over the past few weeks, something shifted. Mosley is back on Alabama's radar, big time. And insiders say his name is gaining real momentum behind the scenes. Why? 1. He plans to announce his commitment this summer, and Bama wants closure soon. 2. He has official visits lined up: South Carolina, Nebraska, Texas A&M, and yes, Alabama. 3. He's already battle-tested: Carrollton is a top-tier program. That gives him an edge. Also, Booby Feaster seems to be drifting further away, with LSU and A&M leading the nil arms race. So, if C.D. Morgan does indeed commit, and all signs say he will, who will claim that final WR spot? The answer might be Ryan Mosley. Now comes the dilemma. The coaching staff doesn't want to lose anyone from the current receiver room. Almost all current WRs have more than 1 year of eligibility left. Alabama won't outbid nil-heavy programs for most prospects. So if Mosley says yes, that could be it for wide receivers in the 2025 class. The issue? Plenty of fans felt he wasn't the guy. But now, maybe he is. So what do you think, Tide fan? Should Mosley get the spot, even though he wasn't the most hyped name up to this point? Do you believe the staff is right to lock the class at 2 WRs? Do you think nil is starting to shake Alabama's traditional recruiting approach? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want your take. You're part of Roll Tide Press. Now let's talk about the player. Ryan Mosley stands around 6 feet 1 inch, 190 pounds, with solid lateral quickness and strong short route separation. He's not the flashiest, but he fits well within Alabama's system. He's faced tough competition, playing for Carrollton, a program that feels more like college than high school. He's disciplined, well-coached, and comes from a winning culture. That matters and might be exactly what led the coaching staff to say, okay, he's ready. Let's go with him. The timeline is tightening. Official visits start next week. Mosley will visit A&M, South Carolina, Nebraska, and Alabama. The staff wants to wrap up WR recruiting by July, especially if CD Morgan gives his expected commitment. If Mosley commits and Morgan follows through, then WR recruiting is done. Unless, of course, some Josh Jacobs-type miracle pops up late, the kind of exception that rewrites the rules. That's why today, Ryan Mosley has become the biggest question mark in Alabama's class. He was the backup plan. Now he looks like plan A. And tomorrow, he might be signed, sealed, and done. It all depends on what happens in the next few days. And that question that once sounded like a stretch has become the headline. They're really picking him? That's what we'll be following closely from now on right here on Roll Tide Press.
And that's what we need to talk about. That change when he landed in Green Bay. The guy is an engine, a leader, he has a presence. 329 rushing yards. But the most impressive part can't be measured, and maybe he still is. And Josh Jacobs is slowly joining that elite list. Now I want to hear from you. Is Josh Jacobs the best RB in the NFL right now? Or is there another player who deserves the engine title more? Josh Jacobs left Alabama quietly. He wasn't the flashiest running back in his class. He didn't win the Heisman, and yet today, he's seen as the heartbeat of one of the most historic teams in the NFL. And it's not just any presence. 5th most rushing yards in Packers history. Because at Alabama, you learn early that playing well is not enough. You have to lead. You have to inspire. You have to bring presence. With the Raiders, he didn't take long to make noise, over 1,000 rushing yards in his rookie year. Packers RB coach Ben Simmons put it clearly. It's the kind that shifts the energy of practice, that inspires the locker room, that pulls everyone upward. Players feel it, coaches sense it when he steps on the field. Everything changes. They got a mirror, a standard, a leader. And one more thing. Is Alabama truly the factory of NFL leaders? Or is that just fan talk? In early 2025, the Packers went all in for years. $48 million, 15 touchdowns, most carries since Ryan Grant in 2008. When the Packers signed Josh Jacobs for $48 million, they expected production, but what they got was so much more. When the Green Bay Packers signed him for $48 million, people started asking, is a running back really worth that much in 2005? But the answer didn't come through interviews or press conferences. In 2024, Jacobs had one of the most dominant seasons in recent Packers history. And now, Green Bay has a man who doesn't just run, he pulls the team forward with him. Josh Jacobs wasn't supposed to be here. He grew up homeless, sleeping in cars with his father in Tulsa, Oklahoma. A kid with raw talent, but no structure, no spotlight, no promises. Derrick Henry, Devonta Smith, Jalen Hurts. TUA Alabama doesn't just create athletes, it builds examples, engines, pillars. And it wasn't a one-time thing. He reached 4,100-yard seasons. He became one of the hardest RBs to bring down in the league. He runs like he's still escaping a hunger he once knew. He leads like a quarterback. He commands respect. He's still wearing the Crimson Tide logo. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious to see who you would trust to lead your team on and off the field. When he got to Alabama, he was a quiet gamble, but those who watched him closely saw it. Jacobs ran with hunger. Literally. He ran for survival, and by the time the NFL noticed, he was already forged. It came on the practice field. It came in the way he runs, the way he leads, and the way he changes the entire atmosphere of a team. And it wasn't just for the numbers. It was for what he brings beyond the stat sheet. Many saw him as just a solid player, not a leader, not the emotional engine of a team. Josh Jacobs left Alabama quietly. He wasn't the flashiest running back in his class. He didn't win the Heisman, and yet today, he's seen as the heartbeat of one of the most historic teams in the NFL. The guy is an engine, a leader. He has a presence. 329 rushing yards, most carries since Ryan Grant in 2008. And maybe he still is. Derrick Henry, Devonta Smith, Jalen Hurts. Alabama doesn't just create athletes. It builds examples, engines, killers. When the Green Bay Packers signed him for $48 million, people started asking, is a running back really worth that much in 2005? But the answer didn't come through interviews or press conferences. And it's not just any presence. 15 touchdowns. But the most impressive part can't be measured, because at Alabama, you learn early that playing well is not enough. You have to lead. You have to inspire. You have to bring presence. It came on the practice field. It came in the way he runs, the way he leads, and the way he changes the entire atmosphere of a team. And it wasn't just for the numbers. It was for what he brings beyond the stat sheet. In 2024, Jacobs had one of the most dominant seasons in recent Packers history. Players feel it. Coaches sense it. When he steps on the field, everything changes. When the Packers signed Josh Jacobs for $48 million, they expected production, but what they got was so much more. And that's what we need to talk about. With the Raiders, he didn't take long to make noise, over 1,000 rushing yards in his rookie year. Packers RB coach Ben Simmons put it clearly. It's the kind that shifts the energy of practice, that inspires the locker room, that pulls everyone upward. He runs like he's still escaping the hunger he once knew. He leads like a quarterback. He commands respect like he's still wearing the Crimson Tide logo. And one more thing. Is Alabama truly the factory of NFL leaders? Or is that just fan talk? Josh Jacobs wasn't supposed to be here. He grew up homeless, sleeping in cars with his father in Tulsa, Oklahoma. A kid with raw talent, but no structure, no spotlight, no promises. 5th most rushing yards in Packers history. And Josh Jacobs is slowly joining that elite list. Now I want to hear from you. Is Josh Jacobs the best RB in the NFL right now? Or is there another player who deserves the engine title more? When he got to Alabama, he was a quiet gamble, but those who watched him closely saw it. Jacobs ran with hunger. Literally. He ran for survival, and by the time the NFL noticed, he was already forged. They got a mirror, a standard, a leader. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious to see who you would trust to lead your team on and off the field. And it wasn't a one-time thing. He reached 4 100-yard seasons. He became one of the hardest RBs to bring down in the league. And now, Green Bay has a man who doesn't just run. He pulls the team forward with him. Many saw him as just a solid player, not a leader, not the emotional engine of a team. That changed when he landed in Green Bay in early 2025. The Packers went all in for years. $48 million,